So now coming on to the general metabolism of amino acids, what are the steps which are taking place in the general metabolism? The first step is the anabolic reaction, that is the formation of different types of the important compounds from those amino acids, synthesis of your specialized product. The anabolic reaction means synthesis of your protein, synthesis of the important peptides, synthesis of hormones, synthesis of specialized product like heme, creatine, etc. Catabolic reaction, that is this amino acid goes the catabolism for the carbon skeleton in the different way and your nitrogen skeleton into different way. Transamination. Transamination means amino group is removed from one amino acid to other amino acid, and it is giving you, or the reaction is liberating ammonia, and this ammonia, it needs to be detoxified in the which is excreted in the form of urea or ammonium ion from your body, or very small amount of the minor amino acid goes for the metabolic function like your conjugation, your methylation, amidation, etc. So in this way the general metabolism of amino acids is divided into 5 different types of the whole overview of the amino acid metabolism. Now this is the picture which shows the transamination reaction. The name itself is gives you the idea, that is there is transfer of amino group, that is amino group is transferred from one amino acid to the other amino acid to form the keto acid. Now why is this happening is, for example, this glutamate is the basic amino acid, it contains the amine group, it gives its amine group and it forms alpha ketoglutarate. This amino group is here the formation of your pyruvate to alanine is taking place. This amine group is liberated in the form of your ammonia, which is detoxified further in the liver in the form of urea cycle, or excreted in the form of ammonium ion. Now why our body needs transamination? Why is transamination a big necessity for the body, though it's not a very major reaction taking place in the body? Now transamination is needed because it is the first step in catabolism. Catabolism means the catabolism of the amino acid into the carbon skeleton and the nitrogen skeleton. Nitrogen skeleton ultimately gives ammonia, which is liberated, and then it needs to be detoxified. The second important thing is this transamination is the basis of synthesis of non-essential amino acids. In my first slide, I have told you that amino acid is taken in the form of diet, which are essential amino acids. They are generally, we have 10 essential amino acids, in which we have 2 semi-essential. Those essential amino acids is not synthesized in the body, while rest of the other amino acids, they are synthesized in the body, and this is via this transamination reaction. The third one is interconversion of amino acids. For example, you have, if you can see this example, if you have less amount of glutamate, or if you don't have, if you have this glutamate, suppose this is one amino acid and this is 2 amino acid. If you have more amount of R1 and less amount of R2, this can be interconverted so that this R1 can be interconverted to R2 so that it becomes equal, or their demand is fulfilled. So for that also transamination reaction is necessary by the body, and we have few exceptions in this: lysine, proline and threonine. They do not undergo transamination, rather they have the direct degradation of this amino acid. So for the degradation of amino acid into carbon and the nitrogen skeleton, transamination reaction is a must. So transamination is the transfer of amino group to form a keto acid. So we all know that all the amino acid are the alpha amino acid. So it transfers this amino group from one amino acid to other amino acid, so that there is catabolism of the amino acid is initiated. So here this is the pictorial representation of your how is the transamination happening. Here aminotransferase, we have heard the name of alanine aminotransferase, aspartate aminotransferase. These are also known as transaminases, which transfers the amino group from one amino acid to another. And here in this way we are going to form non-essential amino acids, and also that your catabolism of amino acid is happening. So here carbon and your nitrogen skeleton is broken down, broken down into their specific reaction, and your further metabolism in the body happens. Now this transamination reaction is, two enzymes are very important in this, and they have clinical implication as well. The one which is the two enzymes which are very important are alanine aminotransferase and aspartate aminotransferase. This reaction, enzymes are the part of your liver function test. Here you can see here aspartate aminotransferase is catalyzing the reaction where your alpha ketoglutarate is converted into oxaloacetate. These are the non-essential amino acid. Oxaloacetate is the non-essential amino acid which is required for your Krebs cycle, also required in urea cycle, and also it is required for gluconeogenesis, so on and so forth. And this glutamate, it is required for the ammonia detoxification. So this is the way how your non-essential amino acid synthesis is happening, your catabolism is going on, your carbon skeleton and nitrogen skeleton amino acid metabolism is going on by the help of aminotransferase. This enzyme is ALT, that is alanine aminotransferase. In older days it used to be called as serum glutamyl pyruvate transaminase, and this is known as serum glutamyl oxaloacetate transaminase. So these are the enzymes which are important enzymes for liver function test. Since this ALT is specifically present in liver, while AST is present in your liver, muscles, your myocardium, so many other organs as well. So this is not considered to be liver specific, but both of their work or mechanism is to transfer the amino group, and these are the non-functional enzymes which are inside the cell, that is they work intracellularly. So amino group metabolism and nitrogen excretion. The first one we have already discussed, transamination, that is transfer of the amino group to form the keto acid. The second one is deamination, that is removal of your amine group. Here you have transfer of the amine group, transfer of amino group. Here removal of the amino group, that is removal in the form of your ammonia. Then ammonia transport and excretion and urea excretion, that is urea synthesis and excretion, it is majorly affected by your ammonia metabolism. Now coming on to how is this ammonia formation taking place in the body. So here you can see transamination, that is alpha amino acid is converted into alpha keto acid, where your amino group donates its that is amine group, so that your transamination, that is transfer of amino group, is taking place. Here removal of ammonia is happening whenever glutamate is converted into alpha ketoglutarate. This ammonia, it combines with carbon dioxide mainly from the bicarbonate, it forms the urea which is excreted from the body. So in this way your nitrogen metabolism of the amino acid is happening inside the body. Now this is the overview of what is going to be discussed in the further slides, that is how is this ammonia is converted into urea and excreted from the body in the urine. The second part of your amino acid metabolism is the carbon skeleton metabolism, which goes for the energy synthesis. Either it can go for citric acid, that is TCA cycle, or the formation of your ketone bodies. So this we won't be discussing today. We'll be discussing only the formation of ammonia and how is urea cycle happening. So we all have known that your amino acid pool is contributed by your diet, dietary proteins, or by the proteins which are present intracellularly. So this amino acid pool, either they can go for the synthesis of plasma proteins, your other required proteins, specialized products, or it can be in the circulation which can be needed for the variety of other metabolism, or it is excreted, that is the nitrogen skeleton of this amino acid is excreted in the form of urea by the liberation of your ammonia. This ammonia, since it is toxic, it has to be converted into the non-toxic and more water soluble form which is excreted from the body. So in this way the amino acid fate is maintained, the fate of amino acid is going to be represented like this in our body. Now how is this ammonia pool is or ammonia is generated in our body? So there are numerous reactions which forms ammonia. We saw about transamination, oxidative deamination. You have pyrimidine and purine, which contains more amount of the nitrogen. When they degrade, they again is going to give you ammonia only. You have glutamine, asparagine. You have bacterial degradation in the intestine, which also produces ammonia, but in a lesser amount. So all of these are going to give you ammonia, and this ammonia has to be eliminated from the body, since they are toxic to the body. So they are excreted by the help of the amino acid, that is, it forms glutamine by combining with glutamate or asparagine and urea. This glutamine and urea are very significant way by which ammonia is excreted. This asparagine is less significant or less useful for the ammonia excretion. So this is a picture which shows that how is the balances in your ammonia metabolism is happening. I have already discussed about the sources, so I won't be repeating it. How will we synthesize or utilize? So we can synthesize the synthesis of glutamate, glutamine, synthesis of urea, and excretion of ammonium. So all of these is ultimately getting rid of ammonia from the body. So ammonia is excreted. Ammonia has to be excreted from the body because ammonia is toxic. Now, why ammonia is toxic, I'll be coming on in my later slides. So this is a very good elaboration of how your ammonia is going to be in the in different part of your body. That is, from the peripheral cell, the ammonia is generated by the help of your amino acid glutamate. By the enzyme glutamate dehydrogenase, it liberates ammonia. This ammonia, which comes into the blood, has to be is taken by the glutamate, which is present in the blood, because this ammonia should not be free in the circulation. By the help of glutamine synthetase, so glutamine, which is formed, is converted again into glutamate in the liver, where ammonia is taken into the liver, where urea cycle takes place, and then it is urea is excreted in the urine. So from the peripheral cells, you can see that ammonia is never left free, because two amino acid, that is your glutamate and glutamine, are always there to capture this ammonia, so that it is safely delivered into the liver, where it is converted into the urea and excreted in the urine. Now, ammonia transport also takes place within the organ, that is, from the liver to the muscle, or muscle to the liver. We all have seen that in the fasting state, your muscle is the one which gives the energy by degrading the protein to the liver, to the brain, to the intestine. And then whenever you are in your fed state or postprandial state, the liver is the powerhouse which gives the metabolic fuel to the other part of your other organ. Now, we all know that whenever you are in the fasting state, or you have excess amount of your amino acids or other metabolic fuel, that is mainly the metabolic fuel is glucose. This glucose is taken into the muscle, where it is converted into the pyruvate via glycolysis, and this pyruvate is again converted into alanine, because this alanine will take the ammonia, that is need not be free. So this alanine is taken from the muscle to the liver again, because we want this to be taken to the liver, so that this ammonia is to be degraded. So it is taken up by the alanine when the energy is utilized by the that is in the form of the glucose in the muscle. It is converted into alanine later. So this alanine takes the ammonia that is needs to be detoxified. So this alanine is again converted into pyruvate, which the cycle goes on and on in the liver. But this alanine also carries your ammonia, which is to be degraded by converting it into the urea cycle, and it converts it into urea, which is excreted in the urine. So in this way, glucose alanine cycle means it gives the energy from the liver to the muscle, and it gives the ammonia from the muscle to the liver. So it gives glucose, that is energy, whenever you have surplus amount of the glucose, and it also provides ammonia, that is it is also the method by which ammonia is detoxified in the presence of alanine and pyruvate. So that's why it is also known as alanine pyruvate or glucose alanine cycle. So now I have been talking about the ammonia toxicity. Ammonia need not have to be, should not be free in the circulation, or ammonia has to be rendered more soluble or to less toxic form like urea and to be excreted from the body. Why is ammonia so toxic, or why we are more concerned with increase in ammonia in the body? That is because whenever there is more amount of the ammonia, the first thing is you have decreased glucose utilization and ATP generation. Now, why is this happening is whenever there is more amount of ammonia, your alpha ketoglutarate is converted into more amount is converted into glutamate. So this alpha ketoglutarate is, you all know that it is an important part in your TCA cycle for ATP generation. So there is less ATP generation because of more ammonia getting converting alpha ketoglutarate to glutamate. Because of this, there is less energy in the body and less ATP generation. The second, this is, though it is less preferred theory, but still it is considered to be one of the reason why ammonia toxicity is so harmful in your body, because of direct ATP depletion. The second one is because of increased glutamine. So increased glutamine in the body, in the brain cells, causes more amount of the osmotic water shift. So the glutamine, they are osmotically active, they causes osmotic water shift in the brain cells. Because of this, there is damage to the astrocytes, that is the nerves, damage to the brain cells occurs, due to which there can be so many dysfunctional, that is the cells can be rendered dysfunctional because of the increase in the glutamine. Neuronal dysfunction is mainly because there is a depleted glutamate, and also because there is your neurotransmitter, that is GABA, is also reduced. Due to this, there is neuronal dysfunction and accumulation of excitotoxins. So here excitotoxins means more amount of the glutamate which is present inside the brain cells. This glutamine is transported, the glutamine is transported outside. The same one is the transporter takes tryptophan inside, which uses the same transporter whenever there is more amount of the glutamine. So this more amount of the tryptophan which goes inside the brain cells causes synthesis of serotonin and other like quinolinic acid, which is present from the metabolism of the tryptophan, causing accumulation of excitotoxins. That's why the ammonia toxicity is considered to be dangerous, because it causes direct decrease in your ATP generation, nerve transmission is hampered, your neuronal dysfunction is there already, and there is accumulation of more amount of your excitatory neurotransmitters like serotonin and metabolite of the tryptophan. Now this is the whole overview of how your source of nitrogen is coming on and going on to the urea cycle. I'll be coming after this to the urea cycle. We all know that ammonia is rendered less toxic by the urea cycle, but urea cycle contains your nitrogen via two sources. One is the aspartate, and the next one is your glutamate or glutamic acid, and by this pathway we have your urea cycle happening, and it is the urea cycle is also linked directly with your TCA cycle. If you remember, both of it has a cyclic nature, that is it goes on and on, that is the cycles rotates. The urea cycle and TCA cycle is considered to be as urea bicycle, because the intermediate which is present here, that is aspartate, is fulfilled by your TCA cycle by the help of intermediate oxaloacetate, that is it is replenished. So it is taking place parallelly, and is also known as urea bicycle.